Hare Krishna everyone. In this video, I will recite English translation of all the texts of the chapter 4, which is Transcendental Knowledge. Here we start text 1. Translation. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvana, and Vivasvana instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Text 2. Translation. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Text 3. Translation. That very ancient science of relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Text 4. Arjun said, the sun god Vivasvana is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to me? Text 5. Translation. The personality of God had said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot subdue of the enemy. Text 6. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Text 7. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharat and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Text 8. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Text 9. Translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjun. Text 10. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge to me, many persons in the past become purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attain transcendental love for me. Text 11. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pratha. Text 12. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities and therefore they worship the demigods quickly. Of course, man gets result from fruitive work in this world. Text 13. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Text 14. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reaction of work. Text 15, translation. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with the understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. Text 16, translation. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Text 17. The intricacies of inaction are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Text 18. Translation. One who sees inaction is one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position although engaged in all sorts of activities. Text 19. One is understood to be in full knowledge whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Text 20. Translation. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Text 21. Translation. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working is not affected by sinful reactions. Text 22. Translation. He who is satisfied with gain, with comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Text 23. Translation. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Text 24. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities in which consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of Supreme Brahma. Text 26. Translation. Some sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. Next, 27. Others who are interested in achieving self realization, though control of the mind and senses, offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the uncontrolled mind. Others who are interested in achieving self realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the fire breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Text 28. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Text 29, translation. Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restrained to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. Text 30. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the spiritual eternal atmosphere. Text 31, translation. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? Text 32, translation. All these different types of sacrifices are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Text 33, translation. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pratha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Text 34. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self realized souls can impact knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Text 35. Translation. Having obtained real knowledge from a self realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Text 36. Translation. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the board of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Text 37. Translation. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjun, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. Text 38. In this world, there is nothing too sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Text 39. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Text 40. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Text 41. Translation. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendent knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of work or conquer of riches. Text 42, translation. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge, armed with yoga, O Bharat, stand and fight. Here, all the texts have been completed. In the next video, I will recite chapter 5. Hopefully, you will like this video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't forget to share this video to your friends and relatives. Thank you.